The USS Resolute glided silently through the void of space, a fortress of humanity's finest technology and resilience. Inside, the hum of advanced machinery and the quiet efficiency of the crew created an atmosphere of tense anticipation. Captain Liam O'Connor stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the holographic display of the Sol system, where the imminent threat loomed ever closer. "Captain, all systems are operational," reported Lieutenant Jarek Thorne, his youthful enthusiasm tempered by the gravity of the situation. "Good, Jarek," O'Connor replied, his voice steady. "Keep an eye on those long-range scanners. I want to know the moment they cross into our territory." As the crew busied themselves with their duties, the advanced AI system, a marvel of modern engineering, monitored every aspect of the ship. Dr. Ilara Mendez, the scientist behind the AI, was in her element, ensuring that every circuit and connection was functioning perfectly. Her intense focus and calm demeanor inspired confidence among the crew. Ensign Lila Hart, her fingers dancing over her console, adjusted the ship's shield harmonics. "Shields are at maximum efficiency, Captain. We're ready for whatever they throw at us." O'Connor nodded, his gaze shifting to the viewport where Earth's blue marble hung against the backdrop of space. This was their home, and they would defend it with everything they had. The first sign of the Krivac came as a faint blip on the scanners. "Captain, I've got something," Jarek announced, his voice tight with urgency. On screen, O'Connor ordered. The holographic display zoomed in, revealing the incoming Krivac ships, sleek and menacing. The bridge fell silent as everyone absorbed the sight. The Krivac were here. "Battle stations," O'Connor commanded, his voice cutting through the tension like a knife. "Let's show them what the Resolute can do." The crew sprang into action, each person performing their duties with practiced precision. The Resolute's weapon systems came online, energy pulses humming with readiness. The ship's advanced propulsion systems adjusted their course, positioning them strategically to intercept the enemy. As the Krivac ships entered the Sol system, their confidence was palpable. Admiral Exalthar, the Krivac leader, underestimated humanity's resolve and technological advancements. This was a mistake he would soon regret. "Captain, incoming transmission from the Krivac flagship," Jarek reported. "Put it through," O'Connor said, steeling himself. Admiral Exalthar's visage appeared on the screen, his alien features twisted in disdain. "Humans, surrender now, and your suffering will be minimal. Resist, and you will be annihilated." O'Connor met Galthar's gaze with unflinching determination. "This is Captain Liam O'Connor of the USS Resolute. We will never surrender. Prepare to face the full might of humanity." With that, the transmission cut off, and the battle began. The Resolute surged forward, its weapons blazing. Energy beams lanced out, striking the Krivac ships with deadly precision. Explosions lit up the void as the Krivac realized they were facing more than mere primitives. On the bridge, the crew worked in perfect harmony. Dr. Mendez's AI system directed defensive measures, countering the Krivac's every move. Ensign Hart adjusted shield frequencies, deflecting incoming fire with expert timing. Lieutenant Thorne coordinated the ship's tactical maneuvers, keeping them one step ahead of the enemy. Despite their initial success, the Krivac fought back fiercely. A massive energy blast from a Krivac cruiser struck the Resolute, causing the ship to shudder violently. Warning alarms blared, and the lights flickered. "Damage report," O'Connor demanded, gripping the edge of his console. "We've taken a hit to the starboard side," Dr. Mendez responded, her fingers flying over her console. "Hull integrity is compromised, but we can hold." "Make the necessary repairs," O'Connor ordered. "Jarek, keep our weapons focused on their lead ships. We need to break their formation." As the battle raged on, the Resolute's advanced capabilities shone through. The AI system adapted to the Krivac's tactics, predicting their moves and countering with devastating efficiency. The crew's relentless efforts began to turn the tide. "Captain, we're detecting a massive energy buildup on the Krivac flagship," Jarek warned. "It looks like they're preparing a doomsday weapon." O'Connor's mind raced. They had to act quickly. "Dr. Mendez, can we disrupt their energy buildup?" "It's risky, but I believe we can," she replied, determination etched on her face. I'll need Ensign Hart's help to recalibrate the energy field. Do it, O'Connor said. Jark, prepare to fire all remaining torpedoes on my mark. As Dr. Mendez and Ensign Hart worked frantically to disrupt the Krivak's weapon, the tension on the bridge was palpable. Every second counted. The Krivak flagship's energy readings spiked dangerously, but just as it seemed the weapon would fire, the Resolute's countermeasures kicked in. Now, Jarek, O'Connor commanded. Torpedoes launched from the Resolute, streaking toward the Krivak flagship. The impact was catastrophic, triggering a chain reaction that tore through the enemy vessel. The Krivak flagship erupted in a brilliant explosion, sending shockwaves rippling through space. Cheers erupted on the bridge of the Resolute, but O'Connor knew the battle was not yet over. They had won this skirmish, but the Krivak fleet was still a formidable threat. Good work, everyone, O'Connor said, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. Prepare for the next wave. We're not done yet. The USS Resolute floated in the inky void, its sleek hull reflecting the distant starlight. Inside, the tension was palpable. Captain Liam O'Connor stood on the bridge, his gaze fixed on the holographic display showing the incoming Krivak fleet. The crew worked with a focused urgency, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of their consoles. Captain, Krivak ships will be within range in 5 minutes, reported Lieutenant Jarek Thorne, his voice steady despite the underlying tension. Captain O'Connor nodded, his mind racing through the tactical possibilities. Activate shields and prepare weapons. Let's give them a welcome they'll never forget. As the crew executed his orders, the bridge was filled with the hum of machinery and the steady beeps of systems coming online. Dr. Alara Mendez, the brilliant scientist behind the Resolute's advanced AI defense system, monitored the data streams with a sharp eye. AI systems are fully operational, Captain, she said, her voice carrying a note of reassurance. We're ready. The Krivak fleet, a formidable armada of sleek, menacing ships, loomed closer. Admiral Exalthar, aboard the Krivak mothership, issued a command. Humans of Earth, this is Admiral Exalthar of the Krivak Empire. Surrender now, or face annihilation. Captain O'Connor stepped forward, his voice calm but resolute. Admiral Exalthar, this is Captain Liam O'Connor of the USS Resolute. Earth will not surrender. Prepare to be repelled. The communication cut off, leaving a heavy silence on the bridge. The first shots were fired, bright streaks of energy lighting up the darkness. The Resolute's shields flared, absorbing the initial barrage. Return fire, O'Connor ordered. The Resolute's weapons sprang to life, beams of concentrated energy slicing through the void and striking the Krivak ships with precision. Lieutenant Thorne's fingers danced over his console, directing the fire. Direct hit on the lead cruiser, Captain. Their shields are weakening. The battle unfolded with a ferocious intensity. The Resolute's advanced technology and the crew's seamless coordination began to turn the tide. Each maneuver, each shot, showcased the tactical brilliance of Captain O'Connor and the cutting-edge capabilities of the ship. But the Krivak were relentless. A sudden, powerful blast rocked the Resolute, sending sparks flying. Damage report. O'Connor barked, gripping the railing for support. Minor hull breach on Deck 5, Ensign Lila Hart responded, her voice tight with focus. We've contained it, but our shields are down to 70%. Keep firing. We can't let them gain the upper hand, O'Connor said, his eyes narrowing. Dr. Mendez glanced at her console, a slight frown creasing her brow. Captain, the AI is detecting a pattern in their attack. They're trying to isolate and disable our main weapons array. O'Connor nodded, appreciating the insight. Thorne, adjust our strategy. Protect the main array at all costs. Mendez, can the AI counter their tactics? I'm already on it, she replied, her fingers flying over the controls. Initiating adaptive defense protocols. The AI's response was immediate. The Resolute systems shifted, adapting to the Krivak's attack patterns. Energy beams deflected, and countermeasures deployed. We're holding them off, Thorne said, a hint of triumph in his voice. Their formation is breaking. Just then, a Krivak cruiser broke through the defensive line, heading straight for the Resolute. They're targeting us directly. Hart exclaimed, her hands moving rapidly across her console. All power to forward shields, O'Connor commanded. Prepare for evasive maneuvers. The Resolute shuddered under the impact, but the forward shields held. The Krivak ship reeled back, its hull scorched and smoking. Captain O'Connor seized the moment. Thorn, fire everything we've got at that cruiser. Let's take it out. A barrage of energy beams and missiles launched from the Resolute, converging on the Krivak cruiser. The ship disintegrated in a spectacular explosion, sending debris scattering. Admiral Exulthor watched from his mothership, his confidence shaken. These humans, they're more formidable than we anticipated, he muttered to himself. The Resolute's crew felt a surge of hope. One down, more to go, Thorn said, his eyes shining with determination. But the battle was far from over. The Krivak mothership, with its immense firepower, loomed ominously. O'Connor knew they needed to outsmart their foe. Mendez, any suggestions on how to neutralize that mothership? Dr. Mendez's eyes gleamed with a plan. Captain, if we can get close enough, I can deploy an EMP burst from the AI systems. It might temporarily disable their main weapons and shields. O'Connor's mind raced. It was a risky maneuver, but it might be their best shot. Hart. Thorn, get ready to cover us with everything we've got. As the Resolute moved into position, the crew braced for the final push. The Krivak mothership unleashed a torrent of fire, but the Resolute's evasive maneuvers and counterattacks kept it at bay. Now, Mendez! O'Connor shouted. Dr. Mendez activated the EMP burst. A pulse of energy surged from the Resolute, enveloping the Krivak mothership. Its systems flickered and went dark. Direct hit. Their weapons and shields are down, Hart reported, excitement in her voice. Thorn, target their propulsion systems. Let's make sure they can't follow us, O'Connor ordered. The Resolute's weapons struck true, crippling the Krivak mothership. The once menacing ship now drifted powerless in space. Captain O'Connor opened a channel. Admiral Exulthar, you are defeated. Retreat now, or we will finish what we've started. There was a moment of silence, then the Krivak fleet began to withdraw. The Resolute's bridge erupted in cheers, but O'Connor remained vigilant. Stay sharp, everyone. This isn't over yet. The alarms blared through the corridors of the USS Resolute, casting a red glow over the frantic scene on the bridge. Smoke hung in the air, mixing with the acrid scent of burnt circuits. Captain Liam O'Connor stood at the center, his mind racing. The ship shuddered again, a testament to the relentless assault from the Krivak fleet. Damage report. O'Connor barked, gripping the edge of his console. Lieutenant Jarek Thorne's voice cut through the chaos. Multiple hull breaches on decks 7 and 8. Shield generator 3 is offline. We're holding, but barely. Dr. Elora Mendez, her hands a blur over the holographic control panel, glanced up. Captain, the AI defense system is compromised. We need time to repair the core processors. Time, the one thing they didn't have. O'Connor's mind raced. Ensign Hart, initiate emergency protocols. Divert all non-essential power to shields and weapons. Dr. Mendez, can we reroute the AI through auxiliary systems? Ensign Lila Hart, sweat trickling down her brow, nodded. On it, Captain. Her fingers danced over her console, bringing life to the auxiliary systems. It's a temporary fix, but it should hold. Good. Lieutenant Thorne, prep the crew for a defensive maneuver. We need to buy Dr. Mendez some time. Thorne's eyes widened. You're thinking of taking us into the heart of their formation, aren't you? O'Connor's jaw tightened. It's our best shot. We hit them where it hurts, 'cause enough chaos to slow them down. The bridge was silent for a heartbeat, the enormity of the plan sinking in. Then, with a unified sense of purpose, they sprang into action. All hands, brace for impact. O'Connor's voice echoed through the ship. The Resolute lurched, engines roaring as they veered towards the Krivak fleet's core. The ship shuddered under the assault, but O'Connor's gamble paid off. The sudden aggressive maneuver caught the Krivak off guard. They hesitated, momentarily thrown into disarray. Dr. Mendez, working with unwavering focus, reconfigured the AI system. Almost there, just a few more seconds. The Krivak responded with renewed fury. The Resolute's hull groaned under the pressure, and a console near Thorn exploded, sending sparks flying. Thorn, status. O'Connor called, his voice steady despite the chaos. We're holding, but not for long, Thorn replied, his voice tight with strain. Just then, an unexpected alert flashed on O'Connor's screen. Internal security breach. His heart sank. We've got a traitor on board, he muttered. Who would Thorn began, but O'Connor cut him off. No time for questions. We need to find them, now. The bridge crew exchanged worried glances. Ensign Hart, her face pale but determined, accessed the internal sensors. There's someone in the engine room, tampering with the core. O'Connor nodded. Thorn, take a team and secure the engine room. Dr. Mendez, you have the bridge. As Thorn led a small squad down the dimly lit corridors, the ship rocked with another hit. The traitor's presence added a layer of tension that gnawed at their nerves. They reached the engine room, the door sealed shut. Thorn gestured to his team. Prepare to breach. With a hiss, the door slid open, revealing a shadowy figure hunched over the control panel. Thorn's voice was cold. Step away from the console. The figure turned, a smirk on his face. You're too late. The Krivak will finish what they started. Before Thorn could react, the traitor lunged. A brief, brutal struggle ensued, ending with Thorn and his team subduing the saboteur. The traitor's final words were a chilling promise. You can't stop them. The Krivak will crush you. Thorn didn't waste time. Lock him up. We've got a ship to save. Back on the bridge, O'Connor watched the battle unfold on the main screen. The Krivak mothership loomed closer, its weapons charging for a decisive strike. Dr. Mendez, status on the AI? He asked, urgency threading his voice. Almost there, she replied, her focus unwavering. Just need a few more seconds. Seconds felt like hours. The Krivak ships tightened their formation, preparing for a final assault. The Resolute groaned, her systems straining under the relentless barrage. Captain, we've got incoming. Hart's voice rang out. O'Connor's eyes narrowed. All weapons, fire at will. Let's give them everything we've got. The Resolute unleashed a barrage of energy beams, cutting through the Krivak ships with deadly precision. But the mothership remained, its shadow growing larger on the screen. Dr. Mendez, now would be a good time, O'Connor muttered. Got it? Mendez's fingers flew over the controls. AI is online, rerouting power now. The ship's systems hummed to life, energy surging through the Resolute. The AI, fully operational, began countering the Krivak attacks with unparalleled efficiency. Shields are holding, weapons at full capacity, Hart reported, a grin spreading across her face. O'Connor's eyes gleamed with determination. All right, let's finish this. Target the mothership's core and fire. The Resolute's main cannon powered up, a bright light gathering at its tip. The beam shot forward, piercing the Krivak mothership's defenses and striking its core. An explosion erupted, sending shockwaves through space. On the bridge, cheers erupted. The Krivak fleet, now leaderless and in disarray, began to retreat. O'Connor leaned back in his chair, the tension finally easing. Good job, everyone. We did it. Dr. Mendez nodded, a weary but triumphant smile on her face. For now. But we need to stay vigilant. As the Resolute drifted in the quiet aftermath of battle, the crew took a moment to breathe. They had faced insurmountable odds and emerged victorious, but the fight was far from over. Captain O'Connor stared out into the void, a newfound determination in his eyes. The Krivak had underestimated humanity once. They wouldn't make that mistake again. The Krivak mothership loomed ominously, its dark silhouette stark against the backdrop of the stars. On the bridge of the USS Resolute, Captain Liam O'Connor stood resolute, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. Around him, the crew bustled with a mix of urgency and determination, their faces set with grim resolve. Report, O'Connor barked, his voice cutting through the tension. Lieutenant Jarek Thorn, his usually steady hands trembling slightly, responded, "Shields at 60%, Captain. We've managed to stabilize most of the systems, but the Krivak are preparing for another assault." "Understood." O'Connor turned to the brilliant scientist, who was hunched over her console. Alara Mendez looked up, her face illuminated by the soft glow of the display. "The AI is operational, but we're pushing it to its limits. We have one last trick up our sleeve, but it's risky." O'Connor's eyes narrowed. "Explain." Mendez took a deep breath. "I designed a failsafe within the AIA temporary enhancement that could boost our offensive capabilities significantly, but it will drain our remaining power reserves." O'Connor nodded, weighing the options. "Do it." "Ensign Hart, prepare the crew for immediate engagement. We're going all in." Ensign Lila Hart, her fingers flying over the controls, acknowledged the order. "Aye, Captain. All hands, battle stations. This is it." As the crew moved into position, the tension on the bridge was palpable. The traitor had been dealt with, restoring a fragile sense of unity, but the looming threat of the Krivak mothership kept everyone on edge. The Resolute shuddered as the Krivak began their assault. Beams of energy lanced towards the ship, but the enhanced AI system deflected them with a precision that bordered on the miraculous. O'Connor gripped the edge of the console. "Lieutenant Thorne, target their primary weapons array. Let's see if we can't take the fight to them." Thorne's eyes glinted with determination. "Aye, Captain." "Targeting now." The Resolute's weapons roared to life, beams of concentrated energy streaking across the void. The first salvo struck the Krivak mothership's shields, which flickered under the onslaught. Mendez's voice cut through the din. "Captain, the AI enhancement is live. We've got one shot at this." O'Connor gave a terse nod. "All weapons, fire at will." The Resolute unleashed a barrage of firepower, each shot precise and devastating. The Krivak mothership's shields buckled, and for the first time, cracks appeared in its formidable armor. On the bridge of the Krivak mothership, Admiral Exalther's compound eyes widened in disbelief. "Impossible! How are they doing this?" His second-in-command, a stern-faced officer, responded with panic in his voice. "Admiral, their technology is surpassing our projections. We need to regroup." Salthar snarled. "No, we will not retreat. Continue the assault. Crush them." Back on the Resolute, the bridge was a flurry of activity. The crew, fueled by O'Connor's unwavering leadership, pushed their ship to its limits. Each hit they landed on the Krivak mothership brought a cheer, each moment of survival a testament to their resilience. "Captain, their shields are down!" Thorne exclaimed. O'Connor seized the moment. "Launch all remaining torpedoes. Aim for their reactor core. We end this now." The torpedoes streaked towards the Krivak mothership, their trails a beacon of hope. They struck true, and the resulting explosion sent shockwaves rippling through space. The mothership shuddered, its lights flickering, before a secondary explosion tore it apart. A cheer erupted on the Resolute's bridge, but O'Connor held up a hand for silence. "Status?" Hart, her voice steady despite the chaos, replied, "Krivak mothership is disabled, Captain. They're retreating." O'Connor allowed himself a small smile. "Broadcast a message to all remaining Krivak vessels. They need to know who they're dealing with." As the comms opened, O'Connor's voice rang clear and strong. "This is Captain Liam O'Connor of the USS Resolute. Your attempt to conquer Earth has failed. Retreat now and never return. We are not the primitives you believed us to be. We are defenders of our home, and we will not be broken." The Krivak fleet, stunned by the ferocity and capability of the human battleship, began to withdraw. The bridge of the Resolute erupted in cheers once more, this time with the certainty of victory. O'Connor turned to his crew, pride evident in his eyes. "We did it. We showed them what humanity is capable of. This is just the beginning. Let's secure our home and prepare for whatever comes next." Dr. Mendez approached, a rare smile on her face. "Captain, we couldn't have done it without your leadership." O'Connor shook his head. "It was a team effort, Alara. Every single one of you played a crucial role. Now, Let's get our ship back in one piece and celebrate properly.